Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Lagerquist. We are here at Buying Faith in Action again. Today, on what's turning out to be a pretty nice sunny day, we are going to be talking about one of the fastest growing sports in the country and in the Mankato area. Mankato Pickleball Association has made sure that there's some locations to play on, some courts. And what we're doing now is hoping that we can introduce some other people to the game of pickleball and see if we can't get even more people involved. I'm sure that's what John Sandry is here from the Pickleball Association. They can always have more people, hopefully, but that'll, if not, if it doesn't fit what they've got now, that'll push for more courts. So I am going to step aside and let everybody know that John's lips are strangely orange today, but that's not any of his doing. That seems to be technology doing that. So John, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Again, I have no idea why they're neon orange. No idea at all. I've been on Zooms before and it's never happened. But anyway, as Mike said, I'm John Sandry. I'm the president of the Mankato Area Pickleball Association. Just to give you a quick background, we started it in, well, first thing we did is we went to a city hall budget meeting back in 2013, I think, or 14. And there were like 24 of us that showed up and we shocked the council. We couldn't believe there was that many people there. And we left about an hour and a half later with the commitment from the city to convert 2 rarely used tennis courts at Turtle Lot Park into 6 pickleball courts. And that's what you see behind me in the background. The tennis courts were not the foundation for the pickleball or the tennis courts was smaller than you would normally do. So we could only get 6. If it would have been regular, we'd have gotten 8. But so then shortly thereafter, we started the Pickleball Association with 12 people. And the highest count we've had so far is 172. Right now, we're at about 120, but COVID, people didn't play, didn't rejoin. We charge $20 a year to be a member. And for that $20, we have paddles that anybody can use. If you're a member, you can come down with, let's say, 3 of your grandkids. And we have a locked shed that we keep the equipment in. As a member, you get the combination. You go in there, take out what you need, let the kids play, or neighbors, or whoever. As I mentioned to Mike earlier, just if you go buy the pickleballs, it's going to cost you $10 for a package of 3. So, even if normally $20 a year, I buy the pickleballs by the hundreds. So we provide all the pickleballs. We maintain, we're good stewards of our court. We do all the work that the city normally would do. The only thing they do is they put up the nets, and we're trying to we want to be able to do that ourselves, because you get a really nice day. We could go down and put the nets up, enough of us, in 30 minutes, but we have to wait for the city and they have to schedule it. We do have a shed, as I said. It's up over my shoulder. And then if you notice along above my head, there's a bunch of stuff hanging on the fence. And those are sponsors that sponsor us, that have paid to have it's a 4-foot by 6-foot banner. And we have, the Wow Zone and Jake Stadium Pizza. We have 21 right now. And we don't actively go looking for them because we don't have a whole lot of room. So we don't want to put anything on the ends of the courts because that distracts the ball. And then we don't want to put any on the other side because that's where people sit. We're hoping, well, in March of last year, a year ago, when the city was getting ready to approve Turtle Lot Park expansion, Franklin Rogers Field expansion, other ones, COVID hit, and we were scheduled to get 6 additional pickleball courts. We were going to put a 30-foot slab of cement just on the other side of that fence behind me, and then 6 more courts on the other side, because we've had as many as 50 people show up to play, and we can only get 24 in the court. So it kind of lets you know how interested people are. And I'll be honest with you, 70% of our members are seniors. So some people will say, I'm too old to play. Nobody's too old to play. The only thing that would prevent you from playing would be your body. We have, I think, 3 or 4 people who are in their 80s. And we have them, a couple of 18, 19-year-olds who are out of school and working, but they come up to play a lot. Generally, we play partners. You can play singles, but we play partners because it's much easier. There's not as much running. I don't know if you know what they look like, but this is hopefully this won't be orange. This is a pickleball paddle. I'm trying to, well, this is not doing very good here, am I? Anyway, this is a paddle, and it's made of graphite. It's very light. It's only like 7.5 ounces. Real easy to handle. This is a pickleball, and it's like the old wiffle ball. It's a little, let's see if I can get it up here a little closer. Yeah, and then I'm gonna lose it. And you notice the holes in it. This is an outdoor pickleball. There's an indoor pickleball that has bigger holes, and the holes are basically for the wind. It still easily blows it, but if it was solid, it'd blow all over the place. And as Mike said, it's the fastest growing sport. It's just grown phenomenally in Mankato because everybody can play. As I said, the only thing that would hold you back is like Mike's got a bad hip, I mean, and we have people that are playing that have new artificial knees. We have one player who's probably our best player. 2 years ago, he got a new shoulder, and now he's playing, and he's our best player. So anybody and everybody can play. We play every single morning, starting, the warmer it gets, the earlier we get. So by middle of May, people will start at 8 and play till about noon. And then a group of the younger, still working adults who play come around 4 or 5 o'clock and play into the evening. Not as many, but still, there could be a dozen to 16 in the evening. We play every morning except Sunday. We play every evening except Sunday. Sunday we play 1 to 5. And when I say we call it drop-in pickleball. In other words, you don't have to go up there with 3 other people to play. You just go up and jump in. We purchased what we call a paddle saddle, and it's like PVC pipe. It's big enough that you can stick the paddle in it, and then you put them in there, and then when a court empties, the next 4 go out. So you can choose who you want to play with, because if you're a beginner, you don't want to be playing with an expert. They don't want to be playing with you. When we first started pickleball a lot of years ago, everybody played with everybody. Well, now the good players tend to play with the good players. They're more competitive. And then you got the recreational players, who most people are. And most of the recreational players play in the mornings. And it's a good sport to keep people active. You can play as hard as you want. We've had no injuries. Well, I take that back. We've had 1 injury in the 7 years we've been playing. And one of the big things when I teach is if someone hits the ball up over your head, you never want to back up, because the older we get, the less height we put between the bottom of our feet and the ground, and we catch our heels and we go back. And one of our players, it's kind of funny, it was like 2 weeks after she joined, she did that, and she put her wrists out and broke her wrist. And the big concern is concussions if you hit your head. But other than that, our association purchased an AED, which we keep there. We got to use it once already. It turned out that, even though when we brought it out and it didn't say to shock them, it just said the thing could still detect the heartbeat, but they called the ambulance, and it turned out that he had blockage. But because of that, he thinks that maybe that helped him. He went and got a stent put in his heart. So, and we just have a lot of fun. It's more of a social sport than anything for the people who play during the day. I've got 150 new friends that I've made playing pickleball, and I myself and another guy by the name of Earl Peters, we've been teaching pickleball for the 7 years we've had it. We have classes for Vine, which have been very successful. We have classes for the community ed program through the school district. We've had a few businesses that have brought employees down. We had one bank came down and we played pickleball for an hour, and then they had pizza. something to do for their employees. So it's just, and it's an easy sport to learn. You know, my wife never played any sports in her life, and she plays pickleball, and she likes it. Well, like all of us, we all get a little frustrated playing it sometimes, but she enjoys it and she does it quite well. And she never played any sport ever in her life. So it's for everybody, you know, and we're gonna run. I don't think we've decided on when we're gonna run the classes yet, or have we? I could have.
No, as a matter of fact, I was going to talk to you about that. We should probably schedule them for June, and I'm be starting that scheduling right away. So,
Yeah, and what we do at the classes, it's an hour, you come down and we have people there that'll show you how to play. We have all the equipment, all you need are tennis shoes and comfortable clothes. And we show you how to play and then just kind of step back and let you have a lot of fun. And it is a lot of fun. It can be frustrating, but anybody can play.
Yep.
It's not a difficult game. The court size is the same as a ping pong or a badminton. The paddle is compared to a ping pong paddle. And then the court is laid out as a tennis. And a lot of people call ping pong or pickleball ping pong on steroids. That's kind of the name they call it, because the paddle is much bigger in the ball. And we encourage, almost demand, that when anybody plays, they wear glasses, because you can get hit in the eye. I mean, if you got regular glasses, like myself or Donnie, you can, you know, that's fine too. But a lot of people, you can go up to Shields for $5 and buy a pair of safety glasses to play. We hold our association well, we haven't for the last 2 years because of COVID and stuff, but we've held tournaments. Our association holds what we call a fun tournament every fall before we kind of wrap up the season, where we make up some kind of a silly tournament. And then when we're done, it's a potluck, and then the association buys chicken from Pizza Ranch or Cubs or whatever. And we have a real good time. We did one year, we did it to try and raise money for, I think was it the Fallenstein playground? And we raised $1,000 just for that, having fun. We did some auctions and things. We got some stuff donated. So it's just really a really good group of people. We try to hold a Christmas party every year, which is usually a lot of fun. Well, not usually, it's always a lot of fun. But we just do a lot of fun. And again, I can't emphasize enough the social aspect of the game. That's the most fun. And I guess I can't say much more about it. It's just a lot of fun. And we'd love to have you come down and try some. And if we schedule the classes, we generally schedule them when nobody else is there, or the slower times, like early afternoon, or because we don't need all 6 of the courts. We've never had that many show up at one time, but it's a good way to learn. And if we get rained out, we just postpone it for a week or something. But do you have any questions?
well, I'll just say that I played for the first time this past summer. My brother and his wife have a cabin on Madison Lake, and Dave couldn't go into work, so they moved down to the lake for the summer. And their driveway is big enough that Pauline, his wife, was able to paint the lines for a pickleball court, and she used it a lot. Me, it was there were only 3 of us, so it was a little bit more of a challenge, 2-on-1. But they had couple friends come over, and they would have dinner or go out on the lake and then come back and play some pickleball. So it's a great opportunity, like you say, to be social, not only as a large group, but as smaller groups.
We've noticed, I think it was Mo and me last year, this past year, but the year before, we had 4 families come in there with their young kids, and they would all bring something. The shelter that's right by Turtle Lot, they would put all their stuff out there. And as they always said, and hope nobody had it reserved for that day. And then they would go in and they play, and some of their kids were pretty good pickleball players. So the kids would play, or there's the big park there. And what we're trying to do, have a meeting with the city next week, is we're trying to get back to this, build us 6 more. And then I want to put a 30-foot wide cement, whatever, slab, I guess, in between the courts, and put some picnic tables there. We've thought about trying to get a drinking fountain in there, the kind that, you fill your bottle up and stuff like that, and make it not just for pickleball, but anybody could use it. If they want to put a grill somewhere out there. I don't know, but to make it for everybody.
Okay, well, what do you think? Should we queue up one of the videos?
Sure, the first video was done a number of years ago. It was done by NBC when the sport was just starting. And it's filmed down in a place called the Villages in Florida. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It has over 150 courts now, and then it's not enough, but I'll let it go.
All right, let's see how this works for us.
Finally, tonight, if you're like me, the older you get, the better you were as an athlete back in the day. But most folks still feel they have a lot of fight left in them, even if they can't cover as much ground as quickly as back in the day. That may explain the rise of a sport that is growing quickly in popularity. If you've heard of pickleball or you already play it, then you know. If you've never heard of something called pickleball, you're about to get a crash course in a fast-growing activity from NBC's Mark Potter.
If the pickleball craze has not yet hit your town, stand by. It's on its way. Pickleball is one of the fastest-growing sports in America and can be played by just about anyone, including 91-year-old Lee Kritzer, vying for a medal at a pickleball tournament in Delray Beach, Florida.
It gives you exercise. It's fun, social, and it's competitive.
Although it's exploded recently, pickleball was invented almost 50 years ago near Seattle, a combination of tennis, badminton, and ping pong. It's played with a paddle and a whiffle ball on a short court, which attracts older players who can still win without having to run too far.
You can compete with the younger people by using your head, and while they try to use their speed, you outthink them.
You know, watching this game being played, you might wonder why it's called pickleball. Over the years, it's been widely reported that it was named after the inventor's dog. But the inventor's wife said the name actually came from the sport of rowing, where a pickle boat has a mixed crew, just like pickleball is a mix of other sports. The American pickleball capital may well be the Villages, a huge retirement community near Orlando. Even with 140 pickleball courts, players form lines each morning to get a game. Looking good. These women are passionate but friendly competitors.
Every Wednesday, we
We
start off with golf in the morning.
Right.
Then we go to lunch, and then we play pickleball.
That's our triathlon.
That's our triathlon.
The USA Pickleball Association says the game is spreading around the world and easily has more than 150,000 players. A fun, fast-moving sport with a funny name. Mark Potter, NBC News, Orlando.
And now there are over 4 million players.
Wow.
So you can see how fast it's going. And I've been to the courts down in the Villages in Florida,
Seconds.
Oops.
and they probably have 160, 170 courts now. And that's not enough. People have to go at 5 o'clock in the morning to get in line to get a court. Now, when we were down there, it was in the afternoon. It was quite hot, so they were empty. But and pickleball started in Washington. It's really big in Florida and Arizona because the seniors play it. You know, those women play golf, have lunch, and play pickleball. That's their day. And that's what's nice about being retired and down south in the winter. Now there's another video that I'll have Mike show, and it's a little, I think it's a little shorter, but it explains some of the basics of pickleball. Real short, and I think it was pretty helpful for if you don't know anything about it.
Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the United States, in part because it has a very short learning curve. This is a brief introduction on how to play pickleball. Pickleball is played on a rectangular 44-foot by 20-foot court. The court is divided into two sides by a low net. There are two sidelines, two baselines, a center line on each side, as well as two non-volley lines, which create two non-volley zones that are affectionately called the kitchen. The center line divides each side into two service courts, the left service court and the right service court. Every point begins with a serve. A pickleball serve must be hit underhand from behind the baseline. cross court into the opposing team's service court. The serve must clear the net and not land in the kitchen. An important rule in pickleball is the double bounce rule. The double bounce rule says the ball must bounce once on each side before either team may start volleying the ball in the air. Here is an example of the serve and bounce rule. When Team A serves to Team B, they must let the ball bounce once before returning the serve. Team A must also let the ball bounce once on their side. After the ball is bounced on both sides, either team may volley the ball into the air or let the ball bounce once before striking it. The rally will continue until one of the teams either hits the ball in the net, out of bounds, or lets the ball bounce on their side twice. A unique but important aspect of pickleball is the non-volley zone or kitchen. Players may not hit the ball while standing in the kitchen unless the ball is already bounced on their side. Pickleball is a
Oh,
fun and exciting sport. Hopefully, this video will give you the knowledge you need to play your first game of pickleball. To learn how pickleball scoring works, go to playpickleball.com to view our pickleball scoring video.
The part about the kitchen, and if you look behind me, you'll see the line that goes through the middle. And then the top one and the bottom one, they have, the nets are up. And this was taken last year during COVID, so we couldn't have two courts open next to each other. But that's called the kitchen, and the reason for that is it helps. It makes the game, you can't step right up to the net like in tennis and slam the ball. It's 7 feet back, each side is 7 feet back. So it's just a way to keep people from smashing it into you. Not to say they don't. I have a 6'5" son or 6'5" grandson that can really get up there and reach in and hit the ball. So.
and I will say for me, one of the toughest spots was that ball that's hit between us.
Yeah.
And usually my brother said anyway, that usually the person with the forehand hit should take that one if they can.
Yeah. Or you always tell your partner, that's yours.
Yeah. Yeah, communication, even though you're that close together, communication is almost more important
Yeah.
to make sure people know who's hitting what and where.
Have you ladies done any sports?
Golf
No.
is probably about it. What is if you've got people just coming in to play now during this pandemic and this, what's your distancing thing? I mean, do they have to play on the same side of the net? Do they have to be related?
Well, it was that last year, but now we have no restrictions. I mean, the game itself lends to distancing because you have two people on a 20-foot wide court and you have four people on a 40-foot wide or court length of the court. So it lends itself to social distancing. I mean, if you get close to someone, it's generally just for, a few seconds. Last year when we did play the city, we had to wear masks, we had to clean the balls, everybody brought their own ball and you always use your own ball, people wore gloves, but it's pretty much opened up now, like just about everything is starting to open up. No masks, I stay in touch with the city all the time, no masks required.
So there's no vaccination requirement
No,
that they be vaccinated?
I mean, I would say the vast majority of all of our players have had both shots. I was at a board meeting the other day, there were 7 of us and all of us had both shots. And I think the one that just made 2 weeks after the shot. But we've had the only COVID incident we've had is some of the people were playing indoors in St. Peter last winter. And I think in the morning they did a blood drive there. In the evening, they let them play pickleball and 3 people got COVID and they think that's where it came from.
Hmm.
So
So then St. Peter has indoor pickleball courts?
Yeah, they have a community rec center up there that they play. They play during the lunch hour for 2 hours, and then they play every Wednesday night. They can have up to 6 courts. But the same thing here is we have Prairie Winds has 9 courts that we can use in the winter. The YMCA up until COVID had 4 courts that were always busy. Now they have 2. Lincoln Community Center has 2 courts, but they didn't open them last year. So there are a lot of courts. Lake Crystal's got 3 courts that you can go down and use.
Are those outdoor or indoor?
I'm sorry,
Lake Crystal, are those outdoor or indoor?
indoors.
Indoors?
Yeah. Now, some places that, like if you go out to, what am I thinking of here? Eagle Lake, by the school out there, they have 2 tennis courts, but they painted the lines on there for pickleball. They leave the same net as tennis, and a pickleball net is 2 inches lower than a tennis net. So, you know, it's better to play with that than not to play at all. And indoors, all of them have portable nets. So YMCA, we put them up, take them down every day.
Okay.
I was gonna say that net seems tall enough when you're trying to hit over it anyway, so those 2 inches probably come in real handy.
And we're all past the age that we don't run and jump over the net when we win.
No leaping over the net.
Yeah. Just the younger kids can do that.
So like there's no pickleball courts in like North Mankato, they're all in Mankato?
Yeah, the North Mankato is trying to build a big recreational center over there at Caswell Park. And if they do, their goal is either, I think, is 6 tennis courts, which we can turn into 12 pickleball courts. And what you do at the tennis court is the net in the tennis court is the backstop for a court on each side of pickleball.
Okay.
So for a tennis court, you can get 2 courts.
Okay.
There, you may have read in the news here that there's a young couple that are going to build a facility here in Mankato starting in July called the Pickle Barn. And they're going to have,
I did hear that.
yeah, it was just in the paper and on the news lately. They're going to have 8 indoor courts. They haven't announced where yet, but they said Mankato and Hilltop. So
Okay, well, that was my next question was where is this going to be?
yeah, rumor is out past the WOW zone.
Okay,
That's a rumor. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. And then the one in North Mankato will be, and that'll be a combination. They're gonna have volleyball courts and basketball courts and tennis courts and pickleball courts and, you know, a lot of that stuff because there's a big need for it. I went to a number of the meetings and listened to some of the sports associations that were there. I didn't realize that some of these kids play practice volleyball at 5 o'clock in the morning or
mhm,
10 o'clock at night. And these are young kids. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
hockey, I guess.
mhm.
But their building depends on getting a bonding bill passed by the legislature. They got $2 million last session. I think enough of that money was to design their building. So now they just have to wait for the rest. And they were trying to get 10.5 million,
Okay.
but it's gonna
So
be a
that
real,
would all be indoor then,
yeah.
that whole complex?
Yeah.
Okay,
We've toyed at looking at maybe adding something outdoors, but whether that'll happen or not, I don't know. I don't know how much land, they've reduced it. It was gonna be a 2-story facility. Now it's a 1-story. That's what they're planning, so.
And you mentioned too, John, that some of these larger closed big box buildings that we've got in town could easily be fashioned into pickleball courts.
There's a rumor floating around that someone might turn the Shopco building into like a family recreation center. One of the things that they want to put in there is a hockey rink, but it's a mini hockey rink. And I guess I hadn't thought about it because I've never been a hockey player, but these little kids, they call them peewees and mites and whatever, don't need a full-size Olympic size hockey rink. They just need something smaller. Putting that in there, there's apparently a restaurant that's already committed to moving in, put in some golf simulators, an esports room, I guess that's a big thing where you compete with games or whatever. I don't know. We have a friend whose grandson makes his living doing that, believe it or not. And there's a bunch of other things. I did not realize there's a mezzanine in the old Shopko building.
Oh,
And when I first went in there to look at this, my first comment, I looked up at the ceiling. I said, well, the ceilings are too low. And they said, that's a false ceiling. The ceiling is 24 feet. That's more than enough.
yeah.
I mean, there's still be people that'll hit the ceiling, but it'll be more enough. And so we go from nothing to wait, a whole lot. I mean, right now, when things are going, we have the 9 at Prairie Winds, we have the 4 at the YMCA, we have the 2 at the Lincoln Community Center. We have more, at one time, we had more indoor courts than anybody in Minnesota. And now if they add more, I mean, I don't know if we can support that many. But you should come
Do
and
you
try
have,
it.
do you have to be a member of the Y to play at the Y?
Yes, yeah. They used to, when we first started, they allowed people to come in and pay $3 and you could play all day. But now you have to be a member. And if you do the community ed, they have 2 seasons, fall and winter, and they charge like $30 or $35 for the season, which isn't bad. That works, it works out to even less than that. And the Y you have to be a member. And I don't know what this new pickleball barn, I think it's going to be at a higher end because I think they're going to try and make it a club atmosphere. We'll see.
You think that's something that would fly with your group, John? Would people like that, or they
No.
want more informal?
No, because I don't, the people I've talked to said it's too expensive to begin with. And I'm not trying to discount. I mean, there's the thing with playing pickleball at Turtle Lot, you can walk in anytime and get in a group, but if the 4 of us go down to the pickle barn and we pay $20 to have the court for an hour, we don't want other people coming in.
Yeah.
No, we pay it, we want to play. We don't want to sit. Or maybe 6 of us split the cost. I mean, there's things you can do. But at Turtle Lot, the thing of it is you can go up and if you want to play with 4 men, 4 women, 2 of each, 3-1. I mean, you just put your paddles at how you want to do. We've had a number of issues getting to that point. I don't know if this is showing or not, but when we first started, everybody played with everybody. And we after 6 years, we've gotten to the point where this group of people is really good and this people, so they just don't want to play. And that has been somewhat of an issue that additional courts will take care of. But what we're going to do this year, I think, is we're going to buy another one of those holders and designate 2 courts each morning for beginners or people that just want to play recreational, that don't want the competitive stuff. And I play either. It doesn't make any difference to me. I just go to have fun and get some exercise. One year in Arizona, I managed to lose 30 pounds playing pickleball. Unfortunately, it came all the way back from Arizona and found me.
Well, I would assume that the ones that are Turtle Lot there, that's a seasonal course because it's outside, but a lot of them are down in Florida or Arizona or wherever playing during the winter. And that one, if they go with that indoor one and make it more of a club-like thing, that would be probably more for people that are year-round, that stay in the area year-round and play.
And I've talked to them a number of times, and I said, my wife and I go south in the winter, and I said I don't want to pay for a full year membership if I'm going to be gone for 3, 4, 5, some people 6 months, and they understand that. And there's a lot of things they're going to have to do. One of the things we talked about at North Mankato is a punch card, or a quarterly membership, or a family membership, And again, North Mankato only has to break even. Where this couple, that's going to be their living, so they need to make money. But hopefully they're gonna put other stuff there, you know, some of the suggestions we had is cornhole, or I guess there's other names for beanbag, bean toss. There's a facility down in Des Moines, Iowa called Smash Park. And it's a big facility. They have 4 indoor courts, 4 outdoor courts. They have cornhole. They have, you remember the game called Battleship?
Oh,
Where you
yeah.
had a folded up and you put the little pigs. There's one of those that the pigs are this big around that, you know, you stand up and you play.
Oh, interesting.
There's shuffleboard. I think some of them have bocce ball. So there's a lot of other stuff that they need to bring in because they're looking to bring families into this facility. I mean, so mom and dad can come with a couple of kids, maybe grandma and grandpa, and rent a court for an hour or 2 hours. And they're gonna have food and drinks. So, you know, it will not survive just on pickleball.
Yeah. In a case like that, out by the WOW zone would be a good spot for them because people could go to both places from the same group.
Yeah, because I mean, the WOW zone's got bowling and arcade and laser tag, I guess, right? That's
Yep.
pretty much everything.
Miniature golf, I think.
Or yeah, I guess that's the, is that the, I don't know, but it seems like anytime I've gone out there, it's just all I'm doing is sticking money in the machines or something like that. Yeah. To get all these tickets to go get a whistle or something like
Yeah.
that. But again, we just have a lot of fun playing pickleball. If you've never tried it, it doesn't cost you a penny to try it. If you want to come up, well, I guess I don't know how the Vine does it with their members, but it's a pretty good deal. And if someone is interested, say you and your husband want to play and you don't really want to, I got an email from someone, I don't know, a month ago. Said his wife is getting ready to retire. They want to try pickleball. They've never played it. So I contacted him and I said, my wife and I will meet you down at Turtle Lot some afternoon during the week when it's nicer weather and show you how to play. And so we're going to do it once it's a little nicer weather. But you know, just things like that. As we try to grow, we're trying to grow the association to get the city to see that, yes, because we have the only courts. These are the only outdoor, what we call designated courts. They're strictly for pickleball. And we want more courts. I mean, there are, I think in Mankato and North Mankato, there's like 47 tennis courts. And I did a lot of research 6-7 years ago, along with a couple other people, that what usage were the tennis courts getting? Well, the one at Turtle Lot, none. And all the times we were down there, because they had pickleball lines painted on them. In the couple years we were down there, we saw a mom and her daughter down there one day hitting the tennis ball. And the mom had her arm in a cast in a sling. And there was a dad down there with 2 kids that I don't think were much more than 3 or 4 years old. So we got them to convert it. You can drive by any of the tennis courts and you won't see too many people playing. But you come down to the pickleball courts and some days we could have 50 people there. So it's just a lot of fun. And I think a lot of people go just for the social, you know, to talk to people and sit around and just have a good time.
All right.
But you should give it a try. I mean, it costs
Well,
zero.
I'll be waiting for the Vine classes. I think I'm gonna try to take it up for some exercise.
Yeah, you know, and the other thing I've got a sheet here that was, are you familiar with Silver Sneakers?
Yes,
Well, they had a gentleman, he was, I'm gonna see if I can find what exactly he did. He was like the department head for recreation for older adults. And he says, and they titled it 5 Hidden Health Benefits of Pickleball. And the first one is, it says you'll lower your risk of heart disease. We all know that if you get exercise, you know, that'll help. And a lot of research shows that. And it says if you play 1 hour of pickleball 3 days per week for 6 weeks, you improve your blood pressure, cholesterol, and cardiorespiratory fitness levels. 1 week. The next one is, it says you'll cut your risk of depression. A lot of seniors live by themselves. We have a number of well, men and women that live by themselves and they come down to play because it's good social for them. It says benefit number 3 is you'll get hooked on exercise. You know, somebody says you can stand for 30 minutes on a treadmill and it seems like it's never going to get over. You can now play pickleball for an hour and a half and say, where'd the time go? Because when you're not on the courts exercising, you're talking to someone, or, you know, how's your grandkids? You know, there's a lot of social interaction. And then the 4th benefit is says you'll socialize more and feel less lonely. And it says because this is a sport with 2 people playing together, you have that engagement. And the last one, they says you may stay independent longer. We have, and it's funny how pickleball is going. We had a lady join, I think, 3 years ago, and they just moved to town. And I said, "What brought you to Mankato?" And she says, "We have grandkids in Iowa, we have grandkids in Minneapolis. We picked Mankato to live in because you have a good pickleball group." And they live in Eagle Lake now, and they're. She started out by herself, and now her husband is playing too. But that is the main reason that they moved to Mankato. So it's a good sport for you, keeps you active. It's a lot of fun, which I guess I've said enough.
Physically and socially active.
Yeah, it is. But when we get these classes set up, please come down. It's real easy. It's a lot of fun, and you'll come with hopefully other members of Vine, or talk some of your friends to come down and try it out. And if you like it and you become a member, and you don't have to be a member to join. In fact, what we do is when a member is down there, the first member that's down there generally opens the shed, and we have like an old milk carton that holds the balls and the paddles, and we take that out and we set it in the court. And as long as the paddles and the balls are out there, anybody can use them. You don't have to be a member. You can bring your friends down or whatever. But when the last member leaves, then they have to be put away and locked up. You can buy paddles. It's kind of funny. When I started playing pickleball, there were maybe 4 or 5 pickleball manufacturers. There's over 120 right now. Everybody's trying to get into it. Same way with the balls. You know, everybody's got a better ball, a better paddle. I mean, my wife is using the paddle I bought 12 years ago, you know, and it works fine. But some people have to have the latest and the greatest. You know, I'm kind of that way with computers and electronics. So, but if you buy a paddle, it lasts a lifetime. You can buy paddles that play against sports, Shields. Menards even has them, which I would never recommend anybody buying. They're a piece of plywood. You know, but the thing is, down at the pickleball court, we have a number of different brands, makes, and models. So it's a good way to test something out. And again, it doesn't cost a penny.
All right.
Any other questions? Or
No, but we have to get together. We'll exchange some emails, John, and talk about a date for that.
I hope you come down, because I remember you. I'll remember you now. Mary from the other time I was on with Judge Walker.
There you go.
That's when you were in your car.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. And if you have anybody, a girlfriend or whatever, say, well, let's go try it. And you can. The thing that bothers me the most is we give lessons all summer long, okay? And one evening I was up at the golf club, not a member, a guest, and I saw 3 ladies that were in our classes at 3 different times, and I walked up to all of them and I said, "How come I don't see you?" Because they liked the game, and they said because they've come down and there's so many people there that they thought they'd embarrass themselves. They didn't want to go in and be a burden on someone else that's a better player, so they just left. That's why we need to get them more courts, and it's the city is convinced that it's the cheapest thing to do out of all the sports stuff they want to do. You know, I think the pool was going to be $5 million to redo it and everything and build all this up. We're $320,000 to add 6 courts and a picnic area, so it's a good deal for them. I complain to the city all the time. Prairie Winds put in 6 really nice tennis courts out there. Nobody uses them.
Yeah.
Except the school, and nobody goes out there. And I asked couple tennis players, well, why don't you go out there? It's too far to drive. Too far to drive from where, you know? So hopefully we'll get more, but please do come down when we get the classes signed up and bring some people to come with you. We'd love to teach you.
Good.
I know you're always looking for more things to do, Mary.
Yeah.
You know, the downside to pickleball, there is a downside to it. You become addicted.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was playing, when I picked it up down in Arizona, I'd be down there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'd come home, get lunch, go back in the afternoon. Because in the wintertime, it's still, temperatures are good. And then we'd have groups in the evenings. I'm starting up a couples league. That's not a league, just a couples social 2-hour playing every Sunday night this summer to see, and it's just for fun, no scoring, just to have fun. And I make sure that everybody knows if you bring adult beverages, they have to be in a plastic container in the city park.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
What
Thank
if I'm a terrible ping pong player?
You, trust me, you will have, I mean, we've had a couple of people that have come down and they never came back. But, you know, the thing of it is you're just having fun. Everybody is helpful. Everybody's very helpful. Come on, come on and play with us. And the thing I tell everybody when they come down, when there's a group, is to say, I'm new, I'm just starting. And you will have people say, come on. And they'll show you how to play and they'll help you. Sometimes you
good.
get more help than you really want.
Okay.
But that's with anything.
You can keep saying that you're new for as long as you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you start beating them every time, they're not gonna
They
believe
might
it.
be suspicious after this.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny in tournaments, they rank pickleball players. 5-0 is the top and then 1-0 is the bottom. And I've played in a lot of tournaments, I don't anymore. But if I was to come up and say, Mike, what's your rating? And he'll say, I'm a 4-0. And I go to a tournament and there's Mike playing at a 3-0 level. That happens, you know.
Yeah.
And it's an issue, but you know, I don't play. I just want to go have fun. I'm 75 years old. I'm as good as I'm gonna get, and I'm just gonna keep playing and have fun.
Hmm.
And I do. I play every day, when it's nice.
Yep. All right. Well, if there are no questions, John, thank you very much. We'll see about getting some lessons for our
Yeah.
Vine members, and we'll also spread the word. I can even include your email address if you like when I post
Sure.
this video.
Sure, that's no problem.
Once people learn about it, if they want to get involved, they can get in contact with you.
That'd be fine.
All right. Well, thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
ladies.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yep.